Well, happy 13th birthday. You are officially a teenager. It is 7th of January 2024. Um, yeah, last year has been an incredibly interesting year because I found like doing these things to you boring, but I kind of felt that I needed to do these things just to give you an overview of what's been going on in my life, although most of the time it's usually not very much, and just to sort of like, just to let you know that you're in my thoughts. But then another part of me thinks that in view of the fact that young people find different ways of consuming social media these days, chances are it's like me leaving a cassette for you to listen to. And as you have no idea what a cassette is, you wouldn't even know what a machine would be used to actually play the thing, so it would be completely pointless. The analogy I'm making here is the fact that I have tried to get onto TikTok, didn't understand it because I'm way too old, and I thought, no, I will stick to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube to a lesser extent to do my little bit of stalking. But you're probably not old enough to be on a lot of these platforms, and even if you were old enough, you probably wouldn't be using the same platforms that I'm on. So all I can do is it's a bit like a message in a bottle. Just hope that one day you'll find it. But I'll just keep doing these in the meantime. Anyway, I suppose all you can do is maybe Google your name and maybe you'll pop up on YouTube. And that's where you'll find me, hopefully. So yeah, do that. Actually, if you have done that, you wouldn't need to look at this, would you? Or whatever, anyway. I've done some bullet points, and I only done some of these last night, and I haven't even gone through the year because I think most of it is going to be condensed. Basically, why was last year a very, very interesting year? Well, basically, Mum passed away last year, so your other nan died. Now, I can't be sure of the dates, but I will get on. I will get on to something later on. Basically, I came home from work one Sunday, about 5th of March. Mum had a fall, and she was actually in the she was in the bathroom. She couldn't get up, and because of where she was, I struggled to lift her. And also at the time, I was suffering with something called de Quervain's tendonitis, which meant I didn't have enough strength in one of my arms to pick her up. So I had to get Derek, who lives next door, to help me pick her up. So we got her up. Anyway, everything seemed okay after that, until when it came to her going to bed. She seemed to indicate from about 10:30 that she was going to go to bed soon. And then it got to about 11 o'clock and she still hadn't got out of the chair. And it took her about a whole hour to get up the stairs. By the time she got to the top of the stairs, she slumped into the landing at the top, and she remained there for a good 20 to 25 minutes. I was getting incredibly frustrated because I wanted her to go to bed because I needed to go to bed, and I had work early the next day. So the longer it takes her to go to bed, the less sleep I get. And this must have dragged on until around about nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, what happened was eventually she got her into her bedroom or whatever. I left her, said goodnight, and I went to bed. And then I heard this almighty bang. And what happened was she must have lost her footing or something. Maybe she tried to get on her commode by the window, and she fell onto the floor straight onto her back. And I don't know if that was a sound or the force of the previous fall that day, because I weren't there, but it felt like the whole bloody building shook when she fell. Anyway, it seemed like she might have damaged her back or something, which I later found out was probably only bruising. She hadn't damaged anything at all. Well, maybe she had, but she was in an awful lot of pain. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we were expecting a visit from the doctor that week on Wednesday for a dementia check. But I contacted the doctor on Monday, said I was very concerned about Mum because she was in so much pain. She wasn't sort of like using her commode or getting out of bed to use the commode. And I thought if she doesn't go to her commode, she's going to wet the bed, and then we have a massive problem. So I kept on nagging Mum, and it wasn't going anywhere. And anyway, the doctor said that he would bring his visit round a day early. So he came round on the Tuesday. The doctor believed that he needed to get her into bed. He needed to get her into hospital. But she was very, very aggressive, saying, I don't think you're a real bloody doctor, or whatever it was, effing and blinding, or whatever it was. And he sort of like gave up, really. He said what he would do, he would get in a crisis team or whatever to help the situation. But he phoned me twice that day to say that he tried to contact the crisis team, and he kept being they kept hanging up on him, or word to that effect. So in the end, I thought, well, I'm just going to have to phone for an ambulance. And when I phoned for an ambulance, I told them what the problem was. And normally they fob you off. I wasn't expecting this to go anywhere. And they said they were sending an ambulance around. I went, okay, shock. I couldn't understand how I was able to get into hospital, but the doctor wasn't. So they came round, and they believed that she had fluid on the lungs. And she said if it doesn't get it dealt with, she could die. So she went into hospital. It wasn't necessary for me to go into hospital that day, so because it was the evening. So the plan was I'll get some clothes and puzzle books and drinks or whatever together the following day, and I'd go in, which was the Wednesday. So I went into Wednesday. Mum did sort of open her eyes while I was there, but she seemed sort of very drowsy and sleepy or whatever. And I just I was there with Joe. Anyway, I was there for about an hour or so. I sort of kissed her goodbye. Fully intended to see her the next day, which would have been Thursday. Anyway, I get a phone call about, 25 past 10, something like that in the evening, saying they were a bit concerned about Mum's heart and kidneys. They're very, very weak. And I said I was rather concerned about that because I was told, I'll wind back a bit. They said that because of the problems with her heart and kidneys, they were struggling to sort of like properly deal with her or whatever, because both were so weak. And I was quite stunned by this because Mum had actually been for some kidney function tests because she was put on some medication to help with her dementia. They thought it might sort of calm down the voices that she was hearing. And she had to go for regular tests to find out if everything was okay. And if everything was okay, they would up her dose. So it was a bit strange that I was told she had like very weak heart and kidneys. Heart I understood, but kidneys, it completely threw me. I said, okay, fair enough. Anyway, so I went to bed, and I woke up the following morning, and I get a phone call to say that Mum's not been sort of like performing very well during the night, and they're actually putting her on end-of-life care. So Mum's deteriorated incredibly quickly. And I said, well, I'm actually working this evening. So I said, I can't really go in, because that would be like when visiting times was. Is there any chance I can go in the morning? And they said, yeah, absolutely fine. So obviously I sort of contacted Audrey. Hang on, let me get all this right. Oh, that was it. I went in to see Mum. Mum, was on some kind of machine or whatever. And what I was actually told when I got there was end of life is a little bit complicated because they sometimes tell people that it's end of life, and about a week later they're sitting up eating cornflakes or whatever. So I was basically saying, okay, well, this could be a week or two. We'll see how it goes, sort of thing. So anyway, I sort of kissed Mum goodbye, fully intending her to see her the next day. Anyway, I then went back to Portsmouth with my friend Joanne, and we was having lunch in Wetherspoons before I was ready to go to work. And this was about less than an hour later. I contacted my sister Audrey and told her what's happened. I said, look, I know you're going into hospital today. I said, please go in and see Mum. I said, she's been put on end of life care. Don't bother bringing in any puzzle books, which I forgot to take in, or any drinks, because it's not necessary. I said, just go and see Mum. And while I was talking, I think Audrey had only just woken up at this time. So anyway, while I was talking to my sister or whatever, I noticed my phone was vibrating. So somebody was like trying to get hold of me, but I never actually looked at the number. So of course, I then put the phone down, and then of course I'll dial the number that had been ringing me, and it turned out that during the hour that I left the hospital, Mum had passed away. So I kissed her goodbye, but not goodbye as in a forever goodbye. Goodbye as in I'll see you tomorrow. And I couldn't really take it in. So I then had to contact Audrey to tell her that she passed away, and that was that. Anyway, I'm going to have to revert to my notes, because there's an awful lot of things that I haven't not really prepared for this, and I'm just talking off the cuff. There's an awful lot of things I haven't written down. Anyway, from that point, things got drastically worse, because the following day was Friday, and I was sort of just about to go to work, and my sister contacts me and she says, my daughter Sophie is coming to see me soon. He said, can you transfer £200 from Mum's bank account to mine? Now here's the thing, we didn't have those facilities on Mum's bank account, so the only way that could be done is if I transfer it from mine to my sister's, and then I put the money back into my own account. So that's what I did, but I was quite put out that my sister asked me that, because it's 24 hours, and it's like there's do's and don'ts you don't do when somebody dies, and you don't basically show that you're like a vulture the moment somebody dies. I just thought it was in poor taste. But anyway, I did it anyway. The following day, Audrey's other daughter, Nicola, phones me, sort of giving her condolences and all that sort of stuff. And then she says, when you come down to see Mum next week, can you actually bring a joint of pork? Or whatever it was. And I completely lost it. I said, Mum's just died. Do you not think I've got better things to do with my time than to basically, get things out of our freezer for you? Don't have to be like that sort of thing. And I was really wound up, because I'm thinking, oh my God, within 48 hours, it's just been like this. It's just, words can't express how I feel really, but I just couldn't believe how soon it had been, and suddenly I'm being tapped up for money from whatever. And I should point out that I didn't actually pay rent here over the last few years, because it was as Mum's appreciation for the various caring I'd done for her long before she got dementia. And when Mum got COVID last year, she hardly went out. Whenever I was available, she was always in bed. So I didn't take her out that much. So basically what happened was I ended up doing all the shopping myself. And most of the stuff that was in the freezer was stuff that I'd bought, out of my own pocket. I mean, there was a bit of a loose arrangement. If I bought stuff from where I work, I'd pay for it. And if I went shopping with Mum, she'd often pay for the stuff. Just stuff like that really. That was it. But over the last, between October and March when she passed away, virtually most of the stuff was actually bought by me. So Nicola, asking me to sort of take a joint down or whatever really pissed me off. And anyway, to cut a long story short, many months later, when my friend Ben went to see Audrey to give her something from the house, Nicola slagged me off and said, it was a tradition that had been going on. I thought, I'm not part of any tradition, and furthermore, the stuff that's in the freezer belongs to me, and I'm not basically going to work and paying for them. I mean, okay, they're on benefits, but that's not my problem. And I don't see. It annoys me that people who don't work actually believe that certain people who don't work actually believe that people who do should basically buy for them. I'm thinking, well, why don't I have that logic? Why don't I just not go out to work? And other people basically, wait on me hand and foot. I just find it annoying. So anyway, about a week after Mum passed away, I went to see my sister, and I took what I thought was the original copy of the will, but it wasn't. It was just a copy, of the original. So I made a copy of my copy, but I actually thought it was a copy of the original, but it wasn't. Anyway, to cut a long story short, everything seemed to be okay, and then I got the will out and just to let Audrey know, what Mum wanted to do once she passed away. Audrey just went completely mental. I'm not entirely sure what she was expecting, but the will basically said that I inherited the house, and Audrey inherited Mum's bank account. And I said at the time I wasn't entirely sure how much Audrey would get, because the house would have to be put through probate. But to cut a long story short, I later put the house through probate, and I did the majority of the work myself. So I was able to keep the cost down, and actually Audrey didn't do too badly out of it, but I'll move on to that later. But anyway, I sort of said to my sister, I think she'd probably get a minimum of about £32,000, which compared to how much the house is worth, it probably seems a bit unfair, and some people might have this attitude that siblings should get an equal share. But then you could also argue siblings should also do an equal amount of the work, and this is basically where there's an issue. I mean, I was sort of my sister never really went to school, whereas I did, and I kind of worked out that if I actually went on a holiday about, say, 3 or maximum 4 times a year, and it was never 4, and I actually asked asked Audrey to keep an eye on Mum while I was away, we'll just say it's a maximum 4 weeks a year. Now, there's 13 lunar months in a year. So if my sister looked after Mum for 4 out of the 52 weeks, that means that she's basically done a 13th of the work. And I actually worked out that if you're basing it on that, she's basically not really entitled to any more than about 18,000, and she's ended up with about at least 36. Okay, I've never actually put that to her, but that's what it means. But Mum made the decisions based on the fact that Audrey was seldom here. Audrey was of no use whatsoever when Mum was ill, and I think my mum felt that she was disinterested. There were other times, like even on Mum's birthday when she was 80 years old, nobody phoned her up or came round to wish her happy birthday. And although my sister did contact Mum the morning afterwards to wish her happy birthday and said she was going to come round, my mum would have gone to bed on her 80th birthday believing I was the only one who cared, because I took Mum to Chichester for the day. I bought her lunch and bought her presents or whatever. And I just think it's unforgivable. Okay, I can handle nobody coming round on my mum's birthday, but somebody clearly has to phone up and say, I'm really sorry I can't come round today, but I just want to wish you happy birthday. Why is that so difficult? I mean, anyway, this actually happened after the will was done, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of just how thoughtless my sister and her family are. Anyway. Anyway, something happened there, so I had to pause. So anyway, she went completely mental when she found out the contents of the will, and she kept on banging on that she was going to challenge the will. And then, of course, she was so irate that at that point, she lost control over everything, and I just decided to leave. And as I was leaving, she says, "I'll bet you've changed the barrel on the house." And I said, "I have." And I said, "Well, I know someone I want to burn it down, and I'll know someone's going to do it." She repeated this a couple of times. And I said, "Well, do what you like. I've got CCTV." Now, I should point out I didn't actually have CCTV. I actually lied. But I only lied to buy myself time because I was going to go and get CCTV because I was so worried that Audrey was so off around the twist or whatever that she'd probably be stupid enough to do something like that. But it really worried me about her challenging the will, and I'll tell you for why. Mum's obviously left the house to me, and she wanted the house to remain in the family. Mum and I did actually talk when she was well enough about what I'd do with the house, and I said, well, obviously I'll look after it and I'll decorate it, and I wouldn't have any interest in the garden, so I'll probably do something to make sure that I wouldn't have anything to do with that. And that's pretty much about as far as it really got. But we never actually sort of talked to Audrey about the fact the will had been done. I think my sister was actually quite upset about the fact that she actually wasn't there at the when my mum did the will. But the bottom line is, my attitude is, What, you're saying that you only take an interest in mum when there's something that might benefit you? As in, oh, you're doing a will, I need to be there to make sure that it's in my favour. Bear with me, because I'm trying to sell something. So anyway, why did I change the barrel? Well, basically, I changed the barrel because I had a very, very bad feeling after being tapped up for money by Audrey and tapped up for stuff from the house by Nicola. I just kind of got this feeling that maybe once I reveal the will, it's not going to go altogether too well. And also, something I haven't mentioned, that when Mum became disabled in 2017, Mum decided to get some additional keys cut. And I should point out, up until when I recently changed the barrel, I have no idea who's got keys to this house. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I'm the executor of the will. I've been told I can carry on living in a house which I will now own. And I've got to pay bills in a house and I've no idea who's got keys. I think my nephew might have keys. I know that my sister's got keys. And I know that my niece, Nicola, lives around the corner from my sister. So either of those could come in whenever they feel like it when I'm not around. And I wasn't happy about that. I should point out that my sister is a very, very loud character. In fact, most of them are. I'm quite quiet and reserved. And I just want a bit of peace and quiet. And what I don't want is my sister come around when she feels like it. And I think it should be convenient for when it's convenient for me, not for anyone or everyone else. And I just have this feeling that my sister would come in and sort of say, well, it says in the will I can have that, so I'm taking that. And I'm thinking, this just would be disrespectful to me. But anyway, she was upset that I changed the barrel, and I changed the barrel because I just kind of thought that, this is going to get like a bit of a bun fight. I just thought, no, I just want a bit of peace and quiet. And I think you should also not only just respect my feelings, but also respect Mum's memory, really, which, in my opinion, hasn't really been done. So they all got upset about that. I then got bombarded with messages from Sophie, Audrey's other daughter, saying that I had no right to do that. I haven't got the house yet. And the thing is, who actually is going to award me a house I already live in? Think about it. I've lived in this place for about 21 years, yeah? I mean, who and how do I get awarded a house that I already live in? If I'm already paying bills for a place I live in, and I've taken over all the responsibility of paying the bills from my mum, what changes? Who actually says, right, Paul, we now deem you the person who's going to carry on living here? Nobody does. In order for me to stop living here, that has to be challenged. And it hasn't been. So I basically said, well, hang on a minute, Sophie. I said, your mum did not get keys until she was what? Until mum was disabled. And quite honestly, I do not have keys to any of your houses. I have no desire to go in any of your houses. And I says, I pay the bills here, and I think I'm entitled to live peacefully in a house where I pay the bills. Because I don't know who has keys. And also, she sort of told a lot of lies. Sophie sort of like then said, oh, Mum said that you only told her that Mum was in hospital the day she died. And I said, that is total rubbish. Because I said, when Mum went into hospital, which was the Tuesday, I phoned Audrey to tell her that she'd gone in hospital. I then phoned her on Wednesday to say, when you go in tomorrow, can you make sure you're taking some puzzle books and some drink, because I forgot. And then I phoned her twice on Thursday to inform her that she died. And I said, there is a log on my phone to prove this. So Audrey has been gaslighting people to make people feel sorry for it. And it wasn't even just around this time. It's been going on for months. And so, at a later day, Audrey was moaning that, she wanted to come to the house to grieve for Mum and sit in the garden. And I thought, no, because she's made a load of allegations and accusations and threats. I mean, other things like she claimed that I'd been moving stuff around, which I hadn't, because she think I'd probably selling them on. Obviously, she made the threats about challenging the will multiple times and burning the place down. Which she later said was heat of the moment stuff, which is not heat of the moment stuff if you carry on for months. She also slagged me off at the funeral, which was 5 weeks after Mum died. She was slagging me off to my late brother's ex-girlfriend's sister. And I'm not even sure if those two have ever met. And she was just sort of saying, he's got the ass. And I only found out about this because she told me. And she didn't even know anything about all this. So, yeah, I mean, there's loads of other things I could tell you, but just gone out of my head. But yeah, I mean, what else has she said, my sister? She's accused me of siphoning money out of Mum's bank account, as she's never had access to that bank account. How would she know? I should also point out my mum was a very proud person, and in 2018 I applied for a tenant's allowance on mum's behalf against her wishes, which meant that this put an extra 55 quid into her bank account, which in the last year went up to about 90 odd quid. And I reckon my decision had boosted mum's bank account by about at least £16,000. So how can I accuse her siphoning money out when I'm responsible for the money going in? It's all very weird. And also, when mum died, I had to freeze the bank account, which means that nobody, including me, has access to the bank account. And once it starts going through probate, everything is locked and everything is frozen. So how the hell can I siphon money out of a bank account I can't get access to? It's just based on total jealousy. And the really weird thing is, I'm not remotely smug about this or anything. It's just, I just want to live here. Like, when you actually own a property, people think, oh, you've got it made, but you haven't. You can't contact the housing association or the landlord or the council to say, I've got a leaking roof, you need to solve it. No, you own it. You solve it yourself out of your own money. And anyway, to cut a long story short, some months later, I decided to do some decorating because I just wanted a little project to do. And originally, the plan was that I was going to start from the back of the house and work to the front. So the plan was I was going to probably ignore the bathroom, but I was going to do the kitchen, the living room, and then at a later date do my mum's bedroom. But I was going to probably not bother with my own bedroom because that was actually the only place decorated in the last 20 years. All the other stuff has been decorated long after that, or long before that, shall I say. So, but then I just thought, do you know what, I feel like having something to do, and I thought, do you know what, how about I just decorate mum's bedroom? It won't cost me that much. But then what happened was, me, Ben and Joe, we were pulling the wallpaper off the walls, and there was about 2 thick layers of wallpaper followed by a border. And then as we were pulling the paper off, the wall started coming off. Yes, it needed plastering. So I had to spend £700 getting the whole room plastered. Yes, 700 quid. I really didn't want to pay that because I thought I'd get away with doing this project. Might cost me £300, and it actually cost me, I think that room alone has cost me about 1,300. It's cost me so much money. It cost me about £1,000 more than it was. But I'm now going to take you on a little tour. Now I'm going to switch around. Now, this is Mum's living room, okay? Now, it's a bit of a tip, and the reason why it's a tip is against that wall over there used to be a wall unit. And against that wall, there was another wall unit. A bit weird, it sort of goes across the 2 rooms because Mum was a hoarder. She took the unit from a previous house, so you could actually argue the wall units are about 40 years... No, not 40 years old, that'd be ridiculous. I don't know, 35 years old, something like that. And anyway, part of what Audrey inherited, it wasn't just a sum of money, which was about a minimum of 36,000, but it was also all the ornaments that I didn't want. So when Audrey had all the ornaments, which Ben and a guy called Steve delivered to her, I then thought, well, there's no point in me having wall units that have no ornaments. So I thought, right, well, I'm going to start decluttering. So where my bike is at the moment, there was a table there until I advertised it on Facebook Marketplace. I gave it away. Didn't want to sell it. I just gave it away. There's 3 chairs here. 2 I'm trying to sell and 1 I'm trying to give away. I've had interest in 2 of them, but not the other one. Bit weird. And ironically, the second best one, no one's showed a bloody interest in. So I'm now going to take you upstairs. Now, we're going to give you an indication of the difference between before and after. I mean, if you like, this to show how old it is, look how dirty that is. You can understand why this place needs to be decorated. And even that is a bit dirty in places, because that is old switch. Now, you could say, well, if you've been decorated, Paul, why don't you get a new switch? The problem is, when you actually have a light switch like that operates upstairs and downstairs, it uses different wiring. And unfortunately, although I can replace a switch in a bedroom, I can't replace one in a hallway when it's operating when two switches operate one light. It's very complicated. Now, if you look up the stairs, all right, I've got these little motion sensor lights up there. Now, it's very, very dark down up there because the light is down here, but it doesn't go all the way to the top. So I decided to put in these motion sensor lights, and they kick in when somebody goes near it. But I could just turn the light on and we'll go upstairs. Now, this hallway or stairs has been decorated. The walls are quite bad. That's a polyfiller job. And we're going to go upstairs. You probably see how bad the painting is because most of it's done by me. Now we're going to go into Mum's bedroom first. As I said, some photos up there. That thing over there was some crappy wardrobe from Temu. There's nothing in it, and I will ditch that at some point. It was going to be in my bedroom, but I just decided it was rubbish, and I just dumped it there. But apart from that thing over there, this is how Mum's room will remain. Some of the items in there used to be in my room. That wardrobe was in my room, and I've switched. I put Mum's in mine and hers, and mine and hers sort of thing. This thing down here belongs in my room normally, but I decided I just wanted a bit switch around, and somebody for Christmas bought me that pillow. I didn't know what to do with it, so I thought, well, it's going to stay in Mum's bedroom. New curtains, blah, 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 and that's that. But yeah, we had massive problems with, we actually started on this wall here, and this is where we noticed how bad it was. And then, of course, this firewall was a massive problem because there was like some kind of wooden fireplace sort of thing or whatever it was. And they said they can't plaster over it. So they're going to have to pull it out and then plaster over that. What a pain in the arse that was. Anyway, we're now going to go into my bedroom. Now, as I said, Ben and Joe, we all did Mum's room. But I actually decided to do the decorating of my bedroom most of the time when I wasn't on holiday. So this meant it took a lot longer to do. Joe was actually unwell at a period of time and Ben wasn't available. So apart from the undercoat, this bedroom has all been done by me. And this chest of drawers was bought and put together by me. That wardrobe there was originally Mum's and now it's in mine. And you see that crate at the top of there? I did want to buy another wardrobe because I didn't have enough space for my stuff. But then I hit upon this idea that rather than get like a tension rod or put like a clothes bar inside an alcove, I just decided to get these little crates from Asda. And basically they keep the dust out, and I've just got work clothes, casual trousers and bedding in these crates. And I thought rather than sort of like damage the walls by putting a tension rod or a clothes thing in, I thought just keep them in crates. It's relatively tidy, it's all right. So there you go, that's my bedroom. But yeah, I've spent about over $2,500 on this house so far. So, as much as I love saving up and having a lot of money in my bank account, I can tell you this is costing me a fortune. And it's about to get worse because I have just been quoted that to have a new kitchen put in is going to cost me about... Is that light ever going to come on? This is why I need a new kitchen. Come on, don't be a plank. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the fireworks. There you go. Yeah, you can see areas there, for example, and it's worse. You can see right at the bottom. You see that? This place needs plastering. We had a mouse problem a while ago. Also, there's a problem with the sink. It's sodden. So it needs a lot of work doing to it, and it's going to cost me about 13 grand. So, yeah. And I haven't told my sister any of this. I mean, I did tell her ages ago the kitchen needs to be replastered, but I never told her how much. But I can't ever have my sister in here because my sister is a very jealous. My sister is a very jealous person, very toxic, and she doesn't see the positivity in anything. It's a bit like she'd be jealous about how bad my kitchen was. She'd probably try to find fault with it, and then she'd probably start going about, oh, where'd you get all the money from? Oh, if you did actually paid mum rent or whatever, my bank balance would be much more higher. And it's like, do you know, I just don't want to give her anything to go on. Anyway, I did actually sort of inform my sister that in order for her to challenge the will, she's got a 6-month period from the grant of probate, and that ends on the 17th of January. And I said I would transfer her my costs, which were it says in Mum's will that the funeral costs had to be paid for out of her bank balance. Now she had about 41,000. And the funeral costs and the probate came to just under 5,000. So Audrey was going to walk away with about £36,000 once. My sister would end up getting about £36,000 unless I paid all the other costs, which means she'd get 41,000. So effectively, I would be giving Audrey about £5,000. Do I get any thanks for it? No. I mean, yeah, we've all got like 5 grand down the back of a sofa, haven't we? And quite honestly, this living room here, for example, might cost about £5,000 to decorate because it's got to get new units and furniture and whatever. It might cost about £5,000. I could do with that, Audrey. But no. I offered to do that, but then we've had a problem recently that the DWP got in contact with me and said that there's a potential overpayment into Mum's bank account or whatever to do with pension credits, and they have to do an assessment and find out how much it's got to be paid back. And I've already transferred £36,000 to my sister. Well, I say my sister, it's really my nephew. In other words, she's defrauding benefits. She doesn't know that I know, and she doesn't know that because I wanted extra insurance, I decided to record a conversation where she actually said where she wanted the money to be transferred to. So I thought if she ever starts threatening me with threatening to go to the solicitor or whatever to challenge the will, I just thought I could just tell her that I'd dob her into the DWP. I mean, I don't think it was ever going to come to that, and it hasn't. But it threw me when the DWP in December of last year, which is like last month, just said that there's been a potential overpayment. Anyway, I've sent a letter to my sister about. I sent it the 27th of December. Haven't heard anything. That's over 10 days ago. I know mail is a bit slow during the Christmas period, but yeah, I'm surprised I didn't hear anything. So not quite sure what's happening there, but I've said that I'll have to delay paying her this 4,900 quid or whatever it was, and I'm quite surprised I've heard nothing. I mean, it's nice not hearing anything from my sister because she does my head in, but I thought I was preparing myself for a massive argument. I mean, maybe the letter has been delayed and she still hasn't got it, or whatever, or maybe it's got lost, who knows, but I've been preparing myself for a massive argument, and I was going to get to a point where, well, there's 2 or 3 choices here, Audrey. I have no intention of paying it, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not my responsibility. I have a responsibility to the house, And if, for example, it was deemed that mum's bank balance was too high because she had too much money in it because of pension credits, then it has to be paid back, and it has to be paid back out of mum's bank account, which you have. And if she says she's not paying it, I says, well, I'm not paying it, and if you expect me to pay for it, then I'm not going to give you that £4,900. Or the other alternative, which I was hoping that I would use at a last resort, is say, well, how about you deal with the DWP, or how about I tell them that you've got it? And I know that because she's defrauding benefits, she would absolutely despise that idea. So maybe that's why she's keeping quiet, who knows. But it never ends. Anyway, most of what I've been talking about has been mostly about mum's death and whatever. And I have been asked many times, do I miss my mum? I actually don't, because I kind of felt that I grieved for mum some time ago. I felt I lost her ages ago because of dementia. But I have done some interesting things. I mean, I've cried about 3 times since the funeral. 2 of the times I cried in the same place. I was in Waterstone's cafe, and one occasion I was just thinking of a time when, towards the end or whatever, I used to take some crackers and some chicken soup or whatever it was upstairs to mum, and then when you used to go and collect her plate about sometime later or whatever, these would be like £2 on there for me, and I could never understand whether it was like mum showing her old sense of humour or whatever, or whether it was just mum being ill, or a combination of both. I couldn't work out, and I was just thinking about it, and I just started like crying my eyes out inside in the cafe. But there was another time in the same cafe where I was even worse. This woman was walking with a Zimmer frame or whatever, and she was a dead spit of mum. Even the not just in her face, but her body as well. The only difference is the fact that mum wouldn't be seen dead with like some kind of mobility walker or whatever you call them. But yeah, I was crying my eyes out, and at one point I got up and then I just sat down again, because I was actually on the verge of going up to her to tell her that you look like my mum. Can I buy you lunch? And I'm thinking, can you imagine somebody coming up to you and saying that? It would freak you out, wouldn't it? But I couldn't believe what I'd seen. And the only other time I cried was I was sent a letter by the funeral directors saying they were going to have a remembrance thing at the local church that they're paired with, to do with people who lost loved ones or whether throughout the year. So the idea was you'd have like a gold star, and you'd write on the gold star and you hang it up on the tree. So I did that, and I'm not a religious person but whatever, but it was I was sort of crying a little bit or whatever, because it's those sort of things just get you thinking. And you might ask, why on earth did I go to something like that if it's not really my thing? No, it's not. But do you know what the really weird thing is? Sometimes, like when somebody dies, it's almost like if you don't cry enough or whatever, or cry at all, it's almost like, do I not care? And it's almost like I kind of like miss that connection with mum. It's almost like I feel guilty because there's nothing there. Do you understand? I mean, I do remember when your other nan, I always forget your bloody nan's name. Is it Sylvia? Is it Sylvia? Can't remember. I remember when she sort of died or whatever. I remember me, you and Sue, I think we were in Cardiff. I'm trying to think, was it Cardiff City Centre or Cardiff Bay? I think it was Cardiff Bay. And I just remember your mum. Your mum was like really upset. She just seemed completely out of it. And you know what's really weird? You've actually lost 2 nans that day. Now, and not only that, it's in the same year. You technically lost your nan Sylvia and your dad, because she kicked me out of your life in that same year. Never understood that. But yeah, I don't know. But in saying that, my best mate Ben, he was close to his dad, and I've never seen him cry over his dad. He's completely different to me. I'm a lot more emotional, but I don't know. Maybe I've just been a bit battle-hardened in these last few years and I just don't cry so much. But yeah, I have cried 3 times over mum, and I mean, I've got like an urn, which I didn't show you. You might have actually seen it in a video. Yeah, you might have seen the video, but I didn't mention it. But the plan for the urn is at some point I want to go to, once the house is decorated, I want to go to Scotland and scatter Mum's ashes on the Forth Bridge, because Mum wouldn't stop banging on about it. So I want to scatter it there, and then of course the urn will remain a permanent ornament in the house. Or I might not go up there at all and the ashes just remain here. Because although like some people, well, or rather my sister, might think it was a bit, out of order for me to, decorate Mum's room, but I actually think that Mum would have appreciated me spending a lot of money and time on the house, because because I think she'd appreciate me looking after it. And Mum would have loved a fitted kitchen. Unfortunately, she's not going to be able to see it, but I like to think she's looking over on me and just sort of thinking, Paul's doing all right. I'd love to know what she makes of Audrey. Words fail me. Anyway, just to sort of end this, really, what else did I do during the year? Well, me and Ben, we went to Agadir in Morocco in May. Didn't have the greatest holiday, to be fair, because I got some knee injury a few days before I went, which I've still got, and I was really struggling to walk. Now, I didn't start doing any exercise until I found out what was wrong with it, until sometime after I came back. Apparently I got a patella strain, which might also be partly caused by my arthritis, my weight, and when I do exercise it does help, but it still comes back, unfortunately. But because I wasn't doing exercises when I went to Agadir, because I didn't know what was wrong with me, I was really struggling to walk. So didn't have the greatest holiday. There were some nice bits, but that was about it. Also went on holiday with Ben, Samantha and Rachel to Antalya in September. Was a good holiday, but towards the end of the holiday, mostly the last day, Rachel was absolutely doing my head in. And we're no longer friends now because she basically wound me up on numerous occasions. It's mostly to do with her ungratefulness. Like prior to us going, I spoke to Ben about whether he'd be up for not asking Samantha or Rachel to pay for the airport shuttle, which would have been about £19 each for them, because they were a bit concerned about money. And we also agreed that because me and Ben were going to stay we're going to pay for an extra day's stay in our hotel. Because they were in a different hotel, they stay a day less, but they store all their luggage at our house, which would have saved them about 30 quid each. And also the flights that we chose, I think we saved about another 100 quid there when we come back. But the problem was the time of the flights. They were really, really inconvenient, like very, very late at night when we were all a bit narky and tired. But the other option is you go a lot earlier and it costs you £100 more. Now, if you're short of money, what do you do? So anyway, there was another issue that cropped up that I was asked to bring some fags for people, and they were restricting the amount of tobacco pouches that could be brought into the UK. They said it was only 5 each, so I got Ben and Sam to bring an extra 5 back for me, and Rachel refused. She said, "Oh, I don't want any money coming out of my account." I said, "No, I'll give you money." "No, I don't want any money coming out of my account." "No, I will give you the money." Then Ben went up to her and said, and took money out of his wallet and gave it to her, and she kept saying, "No, I don't want money coming out of my account." I lost it with her because we did an awful lot for her. I should also point out that my patella strain was still a problem, and me and Ben was in a hotel room up 4 flights of stairs without a lift, and he'd actually done a tendon in his finger. So we had to drag all our luggage as well as theirs down 4 flights of stairs without a lift, while Sam and Rachel buggered off for the day. They arrived late for the airport shuttle. Let's say late. The airport shuttle arrived 6:10. They arrived at 6:20, and we were supposed to leave at 6:25. And if we'd all gone out together, they would have been wondering where the hell we was, and we wouldn't have got out till nearly quarter to 7, and we probably would have accidentally left stuff there. So it really wasn't practical. So I was really annoyed with Rachel about the lack of gratitude, and it carried on with her moaning about whose stupid idea was it to book this flight. Well, it saved you £100. And she also threw her luggage towards me at one point, which missed me by about a couple of inches, and I'm convinced she threw it at me. Ben's not so sure. And then the other issue was she was moaning about the monorail shuffle that goes between the two airports. She wanted to get a taxi from North Terminal, bearing in mind that Ben lives south of the South Terminal, and she was moaning about the taxi. But to get a taxi from the North Terminal would have cost us more money. And anyway, I'm fed up talking about it, and I just can't be arsed with Rachel. She does my head in. So that's that. But yeah, still in touch with Sam. Still friends with Joe. Ben's always around. So yeah, otherwise everything's okay. Working as many hours as I can to pay for all these home improvements. I'll get any hour I can get here, there and everywhere. So yeah, life isn't too brilliant, but not too bad either. But I just want you to know that I actually did try to contact you last year. I actually thought that with Mum not being around anymore, I kind of felt that I don't necessarily have the same stresses that I had before, and therefore this would be the appropriate time to sort of get in contact with you to say how much I miss you. And I tried to get hold of you through Ellie, who I think is your cousin. But I had no proof that she received any of my messages, whether it was from two of her Instagram accounts or Facebook. And I know she uses Facebook, so I don't know. I don't know whether she saw the messages or not, or whether she passed them on to your mum. But I made a massive mistake because I didn't check something. I got it into my head that maybe because your mum can be quite difficult to deal with sometimes, I thought that maybe she wasn't in touch with with her sister Sam so much, or even Ellie. So I just thought that because Ellie and I used to be friends on Facebook, she'd be the right person to get in contact with regarding you. When I heard nothing, I started doing a bit of investigating, and then I found out that your mum, Samantha and Ellie all went to a Coldplay gig in Cardiff, I think it was, of that year. And I thought, I've stuffed up. I know what's happened here. She has received the messages, she's passed it on to Sue, and this isn't going to go anywhere, is it? So I then, for years and years, I've been stressing about being separated from you and feeling guilty about the fact that I'm not in your life, and how, the sort of ill feeling you might have towards me. And I just snapped out of it. I'm thinking, I just need to get on with my life. I think that everyone would close ranks preventing me from seeing you. And for me to get involved in your life at this stage or whatever would be quite traumatic, more traumatic for you than it would be for me, I think. And I thought, all I can do is allow you to get on with your life. And if you want to get hold of me, I'm not going anywhere. So anyway, I hope you do get in contact with me sometime. I can't promise it will be great. I can't promise we'll get on, because we've not grown up with each other, and we, who knows. But it's up to you. Hopefully you'll find me one day. Love you lots, Dad.